Welcome back to the channel. My name is Crawford. This is Virginia's for Lowriders, and today we're going to try to make some progress on the Mazda. And I really need to make some tool stands for my tubing bender. I have a JD Model 3 or JD squared Model 3. I actually have two of them. I got one from a yard sale, one from a guy on Marketplace that just gave it to me for free for whatever reason. I need to make a stand so we can make some progress on the Mazda. The Mazda is going to need a hoop across the front and potentially some other hoopage. And I need to make the 3-link, and the 3-link has to bend around the gas tank. So I think making that is probably going to be the priority today, and then we'll see how the day goes from there. I don't know if I've ever shown these. Well, yes, I have, because I made a stand for my big vise outside. Stand for the anvil, shear, grinders, cutters, vices, benders, all that. So I think what I'm going to do is make a stand for inside the garage that I can like attach the tubing bender quickly, maybe like a hitch pin style. I'm thinking like a 2-inch receiver on the bottom of it to make it kind of like a tow hitch. I have an old tow hitch out back that I can cut up and use for material, so I might have a couple of those actually. So those might get sacrificed, and then I have some other welding tanks that I can cut, and a pretty large amount of sprockets out here that I can sacrifice and make something work. So I think when it comes to doing large roll cage bends like hoops inside or big long shapes that need some room, I'm thinking on my outside vise here I can mount something on one of the corners that's removable so that it doesn't hold the vise back. But the garage, sometimes it looks bigger on camera than it actually is. 19 feet this way and 25 feet this way. So it is really tight in here, especially when there's a vehicle in here, and there's pretty much always a vehicle in here. So I'm rambling again, but I need to make a mount outside for big projects, make a stand for inside for storage and small projects, because as they are now, they're just kind of, I have the two and they're just kind of thrown up there, and yeah, unnecessary taking up of room. So let's get to it. I'm gonna go dig through my pile of white trash out back and see what I can come up with. There's a trampoline house thing. I don't know what they're called. Trampoline park, maybe? That's local to here that redid the inside of them. And they have these big bollards covered in styrofoam that I guess if you were to bounce off the trampoline, it would catch you from hitting the ground. I don't know. But they redid a lot of the park and threw these in the trash. So I have these as potential uses for material to make the uprights of the stands. So the bender that I got from Marketplace came with the, I'm assuming this portion is factory, I'm not really sure. But the guy obviously had it welded to some stuff and cut it off of something. The other one didn't come with anything. So I think instead of having to drill holes and make some new stuff, I'm going to reuse this portion. I think I'm going to try to make all of this to where this stand isn't just for the bender. If I do it with receivers, then potentially I can put whatever I want in it and make it universal. So I think that's what I'm going to try to do. I just got to decide on what I want to cut up to make this work, because everything's in the backyard and I'm pretty lazy, so I got to carry all that stuff out front. But I do have a skid steer, so not quite as bad. We're gonna do it the lazy way. Oh, maybe, maybe. Back here in my never-ending pile of junk, there's a couple gems. Well, I don't know if you'd call them that, but usable items. We'll say that. I was really hoping this bed off this scrap truck would work, but or hitch, I mean. That thing is 100% seized in there. It doesn't even have a pin in it. I'm pretty sure it was still being used. I do have another junk truck with a decent looking receiver, so I think I'm gonna grab the Sawzall and I'm just gonna be lazy about it. Got the old Sawzall out. Try and hopefully cut through this pretty quick. It's a little too warm out here to be standing in the sun. Wow. Kind of thinking this guy cut in the middle might work. Mount that to a sprocket. That's already got a base on it. Only problem is that thing is really, really hot. And there's stuff in the way. And that whole lazy thing. I gotta work on that. Try and get this out of here without hurting myself. Whoa, 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 whoa. That'll work. Kind of thinking with the way I laid the vise out, I think I can weld something here, like kind of up off the ground, out of the way of this. As long as it clears the swing, I want to still be able to use the vise whenever I need to. I just got to figure out a way to make it to where it's not going to interfere. I can't do it there. If I did it there, then there wouldn't be any room to stand. Here, I think my angle's a little off and it would just smack whatever's there. The vise is tipped a little bit. Maybe here, as long as it's really low. I don't know. Kind of messed up on that. Probably should have angled it straight out, but not the smartest person, so. That was a terrible noise. Apparently I left my drill on top of the skid steer. Oh, nice. That looks great. And the fan's a little jacked up, but it's cool. Let's try this again. I feel like I live in like a wildlife refuge or something. Every time I go back to edit these videos, you can hear 20 birds chirping. That guy has a bunch of like hound dogs for like hunting and whatever, even though he doesn't hunt. And that guy over on the other side has like a police dog and police dog puppies. I don't know. But I got all my arts and crafts supplies out. Hitch, 2-inch stuff, and hopefully a stand along with those. So get the torch out, start cutting this stuff up. I'm not positive because I haven't cut any of these apart yet if the square tubing actually goes up in there or if it's just flat on this. I'm kind of hoping it's just flat on this because that's going to be kind of excessive on weight, but I think the round part is going to go onto a sprocket. And I think if I utilize this square portion, I might be able to make some feet on that to where this can be moved around separately from that base. Not positive about that. Still trying to think of something to not interfere with the vise, but I'll figure it out. So, need to cut around the edge of this and figure out my heights. Since these stands kind of have a home, I'm thinking that I want it to stay underneath the flame cabinet. I don't really care how tall it is, if it's going to be moved around, and it's not something that you're physically touching the entire time. You're just looking down on it while it's making a bend. I don't think I need to make it like chest height or above waist height like the rest of them. I think it can be just below the height of that cabinet. So I think this on that raised sprocket, if the measurements are right, can be, I don't know, it'll fit, hopefully. So I gotta take some measurements and cut this stuff up. Well, I just spent 45 minutes looking for my cutting glasses, so that's cool. I'm pretty sure that I just find an excuse to use a torch every day. I don't think I got my settings right. Yep, I bumped the oxygen. It was almost turned off completely. Oh, that tubing goes all the way through. Weird. That should be Mazda parts showing up. Hopefully. This would be too tall and way too heavy, considering that that square tubing is actually inside of this thing. Kind of thinking of just notching this out on both sides and sliding that down in there, welding it up. Maybe cutting this, angling it in. That way there's no bulk, I guess you could say. I don't know. These things are awesome. It helps if you get it in there 100% straight, but it was heavy, and that thing is a piece of crap. So here we are so far. Need to knock the paint off of this and weld it up. Made up some little filler plates. So my idea here is to take some of these bolts, which are kind of stiff for whatever reason, even though they're new. These little clamps or tabs or whatever you want to consider those to be. I'm going to clean up this outer metal, weld that nut to the outside of it, and this will be completely removable, or it can be used elsewhere, especially since it has a receiver in it and the bender's not permanently mounted to it. It can be used for anything. So go ahead and get this cleaned up, welded together, and test it out. Yep, I think that'll work. It looks okay. Try and get some shots of this before that happens. Do a test fit, because I'm running out of usable time here. This is supposed to storm very, very soon. Making it that tall, I should have tried to pick that thing up again. Making it that tall was a terrible idea. It's lifting it up and putting it down inside of that thing. That's a chore. I'll have to take a nap after that, but I don't know. Hopefully tomorrow's a better day. We'll see. Alright, so it is the next day. It is nice and sunny out. Everything that I did yesterday flash rusted. Great looking, right? But overall, turned out pretty cool. The garage looks like a bomb went off again. That thing is extremely, extremely heavy. So I think I'm going to scratch the idea of making that specific cylinder another mount for that for the inside for now, because that is way too high, because that is way too high and it's shorter. And lifting that thing up is it's a lot. I don't know. I'm just getting old, I guess. I don't know. I have to try and put it on a scale, see exactly how much it weighs. It's fine if you're just carrying it around, but getting it up that little bit more, it's pretty bad. But obviously, I need to clean the garage because I can't move around in this little place anymore. I'm going to do that real quick. And I think I'm going to put the bender back on the stand. And maybe we'll try to bend some stuff today. Maybe I'll finish up the video with actually some sort of progress. I gotta do something to the truck because I haven't done anything to the truck this weekend yet. Worked on it a little bit this week. I went through and ground all this stuff to basically a mirror finish, and it is super, super smooth. The scratch marks you do see are like, I don't know, like literally looks like a mirror. But maybe I'll go through and do some welding and attempt to use the tubing bender. I've never used a tubing bender before. I have bent tubing on previous projects with a torch and weight and leverage. Never with an actual tubing bender, so I need to learn how to do that, and let's go from there. I'm rambling again, so let's get to... If you're in a small shop and you're grinding, the dust gets everywhere on everything, and it's thick, and you can taste it and you can smell it. It's in your lungs. So to make it more inside of your lungs, I use this to get it off of everything because I'm lazy. Should probably put a mask on before I do this. Let's just pretend I have a mask on right now. But this is my general method for getting the initial cleaning. Don't do that if you care about the front of your garage because it makes everything out there rusty when it rains. But if you have some old gravel, it's up to you. Doesn't really matter to me. I don't care if the gravel turns red. I left this outside yesterday and it stormed so badly that when I went to go grocery shopping, you couldn't see the cars in front of you. And still works. So that's not bad. Good job, DeWalt. You take into account, I mean, you can see it's rusting on the blade. You take into account stupid people like me. Good job. I don't know how accurate my cheapy scale is, but try not to put any weight on it at all. 110 pounds. And it doesn't have all the pieces on it. So yeah, it's a little awkward picking it up to like your chest because it's not exact. I mean, if it was shaped like that little box and 110 pounds, it'd be a lot different than how awkwardly shaped that thing is. I don't know. Just trying to justify it. I don't know if it's working or not. I just wanted to get this thing cleaned up before I start using it. That way, if anything does leak from this cylinder, I'll actually know. The Amazon guy's here again. It's hopefully some more parts for this project. Amazon brought me a couple blades here. It's amazing how cheap they can sell stuff. Just, I don't know, I'm assuming drop shipper from China or whatever, but much, much cheaper to buy online than it is to go to Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever. I haven't tried these auto dismantling blades, but we'll see how they do. It even shows you cutting up car into little pieces. I know that was a specific thing for Sawzall blades. So this is what I received from Summit Racing. 7.5 feet tall, 1.5 inch, 120 ball. So that is going to be cross members for this. Like if I need to do any more intricate stuff, it's going to be the cross member for the gas tank soon. Then I have some ideas for some rear bumper stuff that I want to try. Mainly just so I can get used to using a tubing bender. So I think maybe we'll try to make this hoop, or at least one bend. I gotta try at least one bend. I've never used this before, so hopefully I don't waste a bunch of material right off the bat. See how it goes. Not really sure what I'm doing here, but I kind of picture the tubing being able to move around in there a little bit more, but whatever. So I got my little piece of wire bent up here. I know this is going to be long. The bend's going to start, I'm assuming, right where it's clamped at. So I want to give myself a little bit of wiggle room on height, just in case. So I'm going to try to replicate this. Let's see what happens. Not that the gauge really matters because I'm going off of this wire, but out of curiosity, let's see what happens if we get it. This should be 90, so we'll see what happens if I get it to 90. So I'm assuming I Probably should have read the instructions, but assuming you need to stop, pull the pin, and reset for make this work. Really should probably read the instructions, but I'm just winging it. That. Hopefully it comes back far enough to grab that next hole. There's the next hole. Drop the pin in. So one thing I do notice in that single short bend is this stand that I made is lacking places to put stuff down, because you have to take the pin out of this, the pin out of this, this off, this clamp off. Yeah, there's nowhere to put it down at, so I think I'm going to make up a quick shelf of some sort. I do have this chunk of steel that I cut off of the base when I made the base, so I think I'm going to whip up something real quick for that before it gets completely dark. So this is what I was thinking of with this. Just high enough to store everything and easy to grab. And ventilated. Obviously, this is way too long, but again, I've literally never used that tool before. I thought it was going to be a little long, but not quite this much. So I'm going to have to do some reading, because I need to figure out how to not waste material. I could go ahead and put the bend on the other side, but I don't want to put the bend on the other side and then just basically throw this away. So I think I need to do some Googling. I don't have the instructions for this. They probably have videos on it or something. Again, I'm just winging it. I came into this with zero experience and zero research, so I think it's a pretty good start though. That bend looks really, really good. It is smooth. There's no kinks. There's no indentations. Very happy with my non-purchase. And using that tool, the one that I got from the yard sale, I think it's missing a couple things that one has on it. So it's a good thing I got that, because if I tried to use the yard sale one, I would have been spending some more money. But I think I'm going to put some welds on this thing, get a little bit of satisfaction of accomplishing something on the truck, and I think that's going to wrap it up for the day. I think there's a little Bondo in there still. Got this little burr bit. I'm hoping I can take it and cut through all that nasty Bondo that I have left over. It's just like little bits, like you can see, I don't know if you can see from there, but there's like black soot stuff. Every time there's black soot is where I keep hitting little pockets of Bondo, so I gotta try and grind that out before I continue to weld it, because it's making it look kind of poopy. Well, I got the, well, you can see where the Bondo's been igniting. Got the notches welded back in. I couldn't weld the inside of that one because I haven't gotten all the Bondo off of it yet, but it's looking okay. Besides where I keep hitting Bondo, all of that is Bondo. Looks alright. Hell of a lot better than it did. So, I don't know. I think that's pretty good for this video. I feel like it's getting pretty long, and it wasn't supposed to be about just making a tubing bender stand, which it turned into that. That little project took up a little bit more time than I was expecting. Like 90% of yesterday and most of today. So, anyways, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Hopefully I see you on the next one.